Probably 80%, maybe even 90% of the time, it's in-house, and we're constantly working on bench depth around here. And so we've got somebody waiting in the wings, and it might be them that birthed the new idea and brought it into special projects. And so they may have been rocking the baby for a little while, and then they just get to grow it on up, right? They get to give the orphan a home, and they become the new mama daddy of the thing. So, yeah, that's how I like to do it, because if it was born in their heart, they will fight all the enemies internally and externally for the survival of their baby. I mean, and they'll champion the cause, baby. I like champions. They paint their face blue and ride a horse with a big sword coming through the thing to get everything. And sometimes you got to sit them down. I would a lot rather try to take somebody like that and pull them back and polish them a little bit than trying to light wet wood.
Light wet wood. That's a great analogy. Well, when you start these new divisions, and I think I want to. The reason I'm hitting on this is because I think if you asked 100 entrepreneurs, what's the number one thing that you wish you could do, it would probably be more new stuff. And so this feels like a very relevant thing to talk about. And I think that happens at all levels because, in the beginning, you're just barely figuring out what's going on. And so you're just trying and seeing what sticks. Later, you have more resources. So you think you can do more, but oftentimes you also distract the team. They feel whiplash. And then sometimes the core business starts to falter because everyone's looking at the new shiny toy rather than the main game.
We started it with one area, and it was tech, because tech was exploding 20 years ago. And so, we had the web department, that's what it was called. That's how lame it was, right? And so, but these programmers and tech people are all sitting in a room, but they're getting paid off the P&L of that profit center. So the guy or gal running that profit center wants some freaking accountability. But instead, we had them just over here. They were on their own little island, and we had to break that up. And that's when we busted it. It was about 20 years ago. We went to this matrix approach.
Well, this is a great segue. So with each of these VPs, I would imagine these are among the most valuable people in the business, right? Because they're fundamentally running a business unit.
Yeah, they got literally a P&L. And they literally get paid off the bottom. They get billed for portions of the overhead, the rent for the building in their area, as if they were a standalone business, so to speak.